Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scott Hott and Bill Whittle with Stephen Green. And I don't know if you can tell, but those of you who are the hardcore Backstage members only at BillWhittle.com have detected the subtle lighting differences in my studio here and know that we are recording this at an offbeat time. This is the Christmas season in retail. And today I have just at the day after Christmas worked a full day in the store, and now we come to you from our respective studios in Monument, Colorado, Los Angeles, California, and north of Dallas in Texas with our pre-production meeting of Right Angle. This week, Bill Whittle actually has the honor of hosting the members-only episode in addition to the regular episode. So Bill, take it away. What would you like to talk about this week?
Just real quick before we do this, we've been doing this on and off with different companies for like 10 years now. I don't think we've ever shot at night before.
That's pretty rare.
It's a whole other vibe.
It's happened before because I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time I've had an on-air cocktail instead
It
of
was
an on-air
dark
water
for
mug.
you. It was dark for you because you were in France.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless we count Steve's excursion into Frogland.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, just thought I'd bring that up.
Not to offend our French viewers.
No, not that there's anything wrong with that.
We love you, frogs. Go ahead.
So for the main item, I want to do the tax cut thing.
Oh, good.
When I say the tax cut, I'm of course referring to the law that's worse than the fugitive slave law.
Oh yeah.
It's a catastrophe. It's robbing our future. It's all of these other things. It's the end of the country, and it's true.
Scott has been dreading this decision.
It is worth the. Well played. Save that, please. This is worse than the fugitive slave law, and it is the end of the country, and it is the destruction of everything in America for the Democrats, and the rest of us will be happy campers. I think the theme I'm going to try and go with is, well, we've kind of tried the stick, for the last 8 years with Obama, and you can keep, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan, and the rates have increased by 300%, 400%. So having more money taken out of your wallet doesn't seem to have affected people's opinions on things very much. I guess they just expect that's how it's going to go. So now let's see what happens when they get more money instead of less. So I want to talk about that aspect, and I want to talk about the fact that if they hadn't accomplished a tax cut in one whole year, if you can't sell a tax cut to the American people with a Republican president, House, and Senate, then it's just a catastrophe. So it is a political win. And I also happen to think it's great. I mean, the economy's cooking. If this had been Obama's first year, we'd never heard the end of it, of how, what a miracle he's had. You throw a tax cut in there, and we're going to see some big improvements. Also, there's some salesmanship aspects I like about the tax cut that I wanted to talk about as well.
Bill, the irony is Obama's finally going to get his recovery summer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It'll just be summer 2018.
That's exactly right.
It's you ever get in an argument with somebody, and after a while you've been fighting for so long that you can't quite remember why you started arguing, but you just know you have to win. Yes. Well, yeah. I've gotten to that point with this tax bill. At a certain point, I can remember when they said, "Oh, it passed the House and it passed the Senate and the president's going to sign it," and I was like, "Yes!" And then I'm like, what the heck exactly was in that thing?
Parenthetically, the Wright brothers, especially when they were camped out in North Carolina being bitten to death by mosquitoes trying to get their airplane working for years, Orville and Wilbur would argue with each other so vehemently that many times, on several occasions, they both came out of the argument as vehemently believing the other person's position as they had going into it. They'd utterly convinced each other.
So long.
And now they weren't going to budge an inch.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Funny.
Well, I mean, from what little I've heard, I mean, the Obamacare mandate tax is gone. We're no longer going to have this penalty fee if you if you decide not to buy health insurance. The corporate tax rate has come down. The personal tax rate has come down. And all of this, I think from the conservatives' perspective anyway, it's predicated on the concept that if you reduce the tax burden, then that money is not just going to kind of go into a coffee can under somebody's mattress, but the money that they didn't send to the government is going to do something else.
Imagine my shock. And that goes somewhat to the salesmanship thing of it, which I thought As usual, the Republicans just completely botched the messaging, but there's one or two things in there that I thought was really clever and has a Trumpian ring to it. So I'll save that for later.
Yeah, Trump's going to have to sell this thing now that it's the law, because the GOP just wouldn't something.
And then,
and Bill, are we going to deal at all with the issue? I'm sorry, that there's one other thing that's being kind of hammered. I listen and I read it from sources from the left so that I can get a sense of what that half of the country is talking about. And the big thrust lately has been, well, yeah, sure, Trump has got this victory because he's gotten the Congress to pass this tax reform bill, but it's not going to stick, because to do real tax reform, you've got to be like Ronald Reagan. I mean, there's been so much praise of Ronald Reagan on NPR and the New York Times lately. It's not like, there was bipartisan support for big tax reform back in the day, but this isn't like that. This is just a, monolithic decision by the Republicans. Now, never did they mention that, oh, by the way, that's how Obamacare passed.
Did they get any Democratic votes?
I didn't see the vote count.
I don't believe so, no. And they let there were some vulnerable Republicans who were allowed to vote no, because apparently Ryan had done the tally and figured he had enough yes votes to get the thing through. So yeah, I don't think any Democrats voted for it, but I will look that up before we tape, because I'm really curious about that.
There you go. So that'll do it for the main one, and then for members only, which I think we might make public this year. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We usually do a year-end recap, and I'm just kind of over that. I think everybody's seen that and knows pretty much what happened. I would like to talk about the direction we think we should go into 2018, and I'm not talking even so much about specific issues so much as just general trends and so on. And I have a real clear strategy on this that's fairly controversial, I suppose. But I'll save that for the show so I can get your reaction on it.
When you say we, do you mean like we, me? Or do you mean we, the nation?
No, I mean the three of us.
Okay.
All right.
The three of us and the conservative movement in general, in general. Not the country. I mean, I'm talking about political messaging. What do you think? Because the landscape has changed so much since 2007 in so many ways. What do we think we ought to do, and how do you think we ought to handle it? So.
And if we can get through that episode without Bill or anyone else using the phrase "and to hear the lamentation of the women," I think we'll be doing well.
Conan, what is best in life?
That's right.
So misshapen,
to see
so
my
deformed,
enemy driven before.
Dogs bark when I walk by. All right. Well, that'll do it for me.
So, Stephen Green, you also get to do, this is the last one for 2017, man. You better make this one count. The pressure is on.
Yeah, I was going to do a combination look back, look forward, and Bill's doing the one and kind of put the kibosh on the other. So the only other thing
Let me unkibosh it. Let me unkibosh it by all means. Do a look back. I was just trying to find justification for not having done the research on what actually happened.
I'm glad to do that.
Just,
and I can
as long
set
as
you
I
up
don't have
with
to
a question
specifically
that will
remember
require,
anything in the past, I'll be fine.
I can set you up with a question that will require zero research and very little memory. So
Thank God. All right.
Yeah, let's
do that. No, that's fine.
Well, let's just be lobs for 8 to 10 minutes, because my backup topic was just a real downer that I kind of didn't want to do between New Year's and Christmas and New Year's. Maybe I'll save it for February, when we're all in that wrist slashing weather. Well, not you in Texas or California, but up here in the mountains, I got to tell you. Anyway, the backup topic was this photo essay in one of the English papers, I think it was the Daily Mail, on the 100th anniversary of the Bolshevik seizure of power in Russia, and all of these photos from the Gulag and the death camps and political prisoners and all the rest of it. It was just awful. But I wanted to compare that, which is basically hidden, and one British paper is doing it, while the New York Times has spent 2017 talking about, hey, remember all those communist great things they did, with a big old series of articles.
Were they really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that one was going to require research that I really don't want to have to do in just a few hours.
Can you send me the photos? I'd really
I will,
like to
and
see
I'm gonna put that topic on the back burner. I think I want to do it next week when I've got a little more time, and it's a little more January appropriate than it is right after Christmas.
So I'm sorry, I lost track of which one are you actually doing this week?
So I'm gonna do the look back with just a little glimpse forward. Bill's look forward is a very tailored thing. I want to do a broader thing, I think.
Okay, got it. So now you've made me reconsider my original topic, and let me just tell you. I'll tell you what my topic is. It is a downer in my mind, although it can be a look ahead, positive thing, aspirational, but. You know what I really want to talk about? For the first time in maybe ever, I went to see the same movie twice in less than a week.
Wow, which one?
I went to
Greatest Showman, right?
I went to the theater to see. Yes.
Greatest Showman.
Have you seen it, Bill?
No, I haven't. You told me it was great. You said it was fantastic.
Yeah, we talked about it, I think, on Friday's Backstage. And, of course, I haven't had 10 free minutes, much less 2 free hours to hit the movie theater.
Well, and what fascinated me was that this came out of Hollywood with famous people in it. And yet it was great. It was entertaining. It was positive. It had decent values, if you want to look at it that way. And all the way through it, it just kept getting better and better. And it was so good. I went back to see it the second time and loved it. Loved it again. So anyway.
Great, let's do it.
So that's what I really want to talk about.
I use that maybe for a launching, just sort of as a launching platform into the larger issue of, the society that does nothing but watch cynicism and porn and destruction is going to become that society.
I'm trying to remember, like yesterday, because we had already celebrated Christmas, because of family travel and everything, and my kids working, and we celebrated Christmas a week ago. And so yesterday, with just my wife and 2 of my kids, we actually did like a marathon. We did nothing but go to movies all day. We went to 3 different movies.
Oh, wow.
So we saw The Greatest Showman, and then we saw, at the end of the day, we finished with the 3rd Pitch Perfect movie. But the in-between, what was the in-between one?
Oh,
Darkest Hour?
No.
How was Pitch Perfect 3? I really enjoyed the first 2.
Oh, I can't believe I've forgotten the second one, but I'll think of it later. But anyway, the two of the 3 movies, anyway, were very entertaining and uplifting and fun. And, it was Jumanji. It was, which I didn't see the first Jumanji movie, but this one, it's got Dwayne Johnson, The Rock in it. And it's funny. It's Jack Black is in it. It's in general, it's funny most of the time. Don't take the kids. But anyway, I was stunned. I was like, hey, wow, I just got entertained twice within the same, 6-hour period by Hollywood. So anyway,
I think the first Jumanji movie is notable because I think it's the only time, if I remember correctly, that I've ever seen a character named Whittle anywhere on the on the screen.
Who was the Whittle?
I don't remember. I think it was the girl or somebody
named Whittle.
I think it was him. Yeah.
So anyway, I'll stay.
That makes it the greatest movie ever made.
I'm so depressed about the other topic that I'm not even going to tell you what it is. But we'll deal with it at a later time.
Come on, we're all friends here. Come on. Yeah. Just tell me what it was. Okay. We won't do it.
Now, the other one, it was based on a story that I first heard and then read on NPR about the just unbelievably disproportionate death of black women in pregnancy.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that report.
Just like strangely skewed. Now, the piece in NPR, of course, went to the assumption that it's related to racism. And there's this one scientist who did this study that basically said that just living as a black person in this country, or specifically as a black woman, just literally wears down your cells. I mean, it just like I forget what the word that they call it is, but it's just like this that actually makes the cells of a black woman like 7 years older than the comparable cells of a white woman. And I'm not using the right terminology there, but basically that they're worn out by the burden of having to deal with the various effects of racism. And I didn't want to get at like NPR and going to the racism thing, I just thought, okay, well, there's fairly clear data that a disproportionate number of black women are dying in childbirth, and also, black babies are dying in childbirth, not to mention the unbelievable slaughter in the abortion mills. But is there, how do conservatives approach a problem like that without saying, hey, well, the problem is everybody's racist and we just need to have everybody stop being racist and give the government a bunch of money so people will stop being racist?
Let me save my answer for when we actually discuss this someday.
Yeah, we'll save that. It's a great topic.
Yeah. So anyway, and I want to
We'll do it the same week we do my communism look back.
Yeah,
and just
let's have
will die.
Yeah, that's called the Fondling the Revolver Week on Right Angle. So anyway,
all right.
I had to go and top my wrist-slashing weather jab.
Yes. So anyway, we thank you for tuning into this backstage meeting, and we thank you also for the unbelievably warm response to our Christmas show. If you've not seen the Christmas show yet, I think it holds up pretty well even a week later. And so, take a moment to watch that and to share it. And there was just a lot of positive feedback about that, and we greatly appreciate that. You folks who are members at BillWhittle.com, rolling into this really a second year, so to speak, of Right Angle production here, although we didn't technically start until April or May. You've made this happen. You've made this a blessed and wonderful year for us, and you have made it possible for us to produce this kind of content where at any moment somebody could raise a finger and change the entire direction of the show.
It's coming up on 2 years, isn't it?
No, it'll be 2 years in May.
Are you serious?
May 23rd, I think, was
we haven't just been doing this.
first
Oh, you're
shoot
right, because I started working at Nebraska Furniture Mart last April. See, that's the kind of hard fact-based news that we bring you here.
And just wait till we report on the 2019 presidential election.
That's going to be awesome.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your ongoing support of this venture. However many, for all I know, this is going to outlast Gunsmoke. We're going to do 33 years of Right Angle, and we appreciate every moment that we get to share together with each other and with you, dealing with issues that are both funny and desperately needed to be talked about in this society. So thanks for being part of that. For Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members
New Year.
at BillWhittle.com for saying Happy New Year and making this possible. Take care.